Hello, esse é mais um vídeo da série English Yourself in New York City. Eu tô aqui com Anthony Falco. Ele é um expert, a pizza expert.
That's me.
E eu vou fazer algumas perguntas para ele sobre pizza e a cultura da pizza aqui em Nova York. Nova York é uma cidade onde muita gente come pizza. Aonde você vai tem algum lugarzinho vendendo uma pizza, a galera comendo uma pizza. Então para mim é um grande privilégio estar aqui com o Anthony para falar sobre esse assunto que faz parte da cultura americana. Hi Anthony, say hello to Brazil.
Hello Brazil. Bom dia.
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 So, I know you are a pizza consultant. What exactly do you do?
Well, really what I do is help people achieve their dream of opening a pizzeria. And today with, the prevalence of social media and blogs, you really have to have the best possible pizza when you open a restaurant day one. And I help people achieve that.
Why does New York consider itself the capital of pizza? Is it real?
Yeah.
Do you really think so?
I think like it's saying you're the capital of pizza is like there's a lot of different factors you could consider in that. Like, yes, New York has the most number of pizzerias of any city in the world. That's undebatable. We have by number just the most. Per capita, I don't think we do. I think it's actually Orlando, Florida, which is pretty weird.
Yeah.
Makes sense when you think about it because Disney World's there and you got a bunch of families and they're tired and they're arguing and they're like, what are they going to eat for dinner?
Pizza.
And it's a very small town, so if you had a couple hundred, then per capita you have the most. But if with sheer number, if you spend a little bit of time walking around New York City, you're going to see a pizzeria on every corner.
I have seen that.
And there is also a really strong Italian-American presence here and has been for a very long time. But, beginning in the end of the 19th century, there was huge waves of immigration that came to New York City through Ellis Island, and they settled in the New York area, New Jersey, Connecticut, all around the Northeast, and their presence is still here today.
What are the most popular pizza flavors?
Okay, I think in New York City, the most popular pizza flavor would be like we would call here in New York a plain slice. And a plain slice is also called like a cheese slice sometimes.
Okay.
And it's going to be tomato, maybe some herbs in there, and then mozzarella.
And what's your favorite pizza flavor?
Oh gosh.
It's so hard.
Personally, I want to know what they're working with. I'm gonna get a plain slice of cheese pizza.
Yeah.
But other than that, I personally if I'm just eating pizza for fun, I like mushrooms and onions and peppers. I like a veggie pizza. I like to get veggies. I don't know.
Okay.
That was always my favorite.
Oh, mine is portuguesa in Brazil.
Portuguesa, I'm familiar with this one. You've got onions, ham, eggs, tomato, mozzarella.
What pizza toppings go well together?
Well, I think it's a personal thing, but for me, I want to find balance in the pizzas that I build when I put toppings on a pizza. So I'm going to look for balance in texture, acid, spice, fat, and then salt. And so if you think of like a cured meat is going to have a lot of salt in it and a lot of fat. So if you have a pizza with like 5 different kinds of cured meat, it could be too salty. So I think like something that goes well with pepperoni, which has salt and fat, is a mushroom. Because the mushroom is going to absorb the fat and it's going to balance with the salt. And it's going to give earthiness and kind of like help kind of support that base of meatiness. And then you could add onions in there for sweetness and texture, a little crunch.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's perfect to think that way, like the balance.
Yeah, you have to be thinking of a pizza as a dish. Like if you were a chef and you were making any other dish.
Yeah.
I think pizza now, people expect a lot out of it and they want to have things that are like as good as a composed dish on a pizza.
And what toppings do most people love and hate?
I think cheese, everyone loves cheese.
Want the cheese of pizza?
What people hate, a lot of people hate, and some people love is pineapple on a pizza.
Eu tô passada, chocada.
It is very controversial. Some people say it doesn't belong on pizza, but I mean, it's a fruit from South America, just like a tomato.
How is American pizza different from Brazilian pizza?
It's a very interesting thing that I was fascinated by when I first went to Brazil. New York and Sao Paulo both have a very similar experience of a huge surge of Italian immigrants in the late 19th century. And they came to work in factories and work in farms as laborers, you know, as professionals, all kinds of things. And they needed to eat. And so people created restaurants and bakeries similar to what they had in Italy. The toppings are very different. You know, like Portuguesa is a very different thing. You would never find, rarely do you find hard-boiled eggs or something like that on a pizza. The pizzarias I've eaten at tend to be heavier. Like you eat it, you have a couple slices and you're kind of good for the whole day. A lot of cheese. Compared to the New York pizza, it tends to be like very thin crust, not a lot of toppings.
Okay.
Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Brazilian people really love the ingredients.
Yeah.
And the crust?
The
crust is really thin
Yeah.
with a lot of ingredients.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what drink goes best with pizza to have a perfect culinary experience?
I mean, I have to say, like nostalgia-wise, there's nothing really better than like an ice-cold Coca-Cola
Okay.
to go with a pizza. I think it's also in Italy. That's also very traditional
Oh,
to have a
yeah?
Coca-Cola
I didn't know
with
that.
your pizza. But for a more culinary experience, I would like a wine, and I also really what I'm into right now is like natural wine. Maybe an orange wine with skin contact or a rosé with some acidity to it, or maybe even some bubblies in it. But I think
Like a sparkling wine?
yeah, or like a pet nat, naturally petulant, you know.
Okay. And you usually do that?
Whenever I can, yeah, pretty much. Are we drinking wine yet? What's happening? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Essa eu ofereço pra nós que toma todas. Cachaça, cachaça!
Do pizza chains make good pizza?
Well, I'm gonna say no, but I'm also gonna say that most pizza is not very good.
Yeah.
I mean, pizza's hard. Like making great pizza is actually really difficult. The dough part of it, which is really the hard part, the crust. I mean, it's like an art, it's a science. I mean, you're dealing with a living thing. You know, the quality of wheat, the quality of ingredients. There's just very few people making great pizza, in my opinion. But the good news is that, you know, even when it's bad, pizza's still pretty good.
Especially at 3 a.m. What did you say before?
Yeah,
We were
exactly.
talking before our
The best
interview.
pizza.
The best pizza.
Is when you're drunk. If the best pizza is the pizza that appears when you're drunk at 3 a.m.
This is the best meal I've ever had.
Now, I have two other questions for
Okay.
you. Why did you become a consultant, a pizza consultant?
Yep.
And what makes your pizza so good and so special?
Okay, it's kind of the same answer
Okay,
for both questions.
perfect.
I don't know how often this happens, but this is the case. It's a long series of like mistakes that I've made in my life, essentially. Like I just always picked the wrong thing and made the wrong decision, you know? Dropped out of school, you know, became a bartender. But it's also the reason I'm good at making pizza is because I'm open to mistakes. I learn from my mistakes. I never had someone tell me, this is the perfect way to make pizza. So do it that way and don't veer from the path. I had no idea how to make pizza. I used to make terrible pizza all the time and I didn't know why it was bad. So I would make lots of different decisions to try and change it, and I just would throw stuff against the wall to see if it would stick, and just trial and error, and just, you know, found myself in a position where people liked what I was doing and wanted me to do it for them.
And that's so nice. And it's interesting to talk about that because I always tell students that we have to make mistakes and that we learn a lot from making mistakes.
I mean, I think it's a great message for someone trying to learn a language. You can never, you're gonna make a mistake when you try, you know, and you're gonna be bad when you first start, you know, and it's gonna be embarrassing. and it's gonna be frustrating. It's gonna make your head hurt.
And actually, we become better practicing, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, I always say that.
Yes.
Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect.
Do you like your own pizza?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like I'm always critical of it, but every once in a while, I'll make a pizza myself. I mean, if I'm making the pizza totally from start to scratch, yeah, I'm gonna like it. I'm good at making pizza. Like, I mean,
Yeah. So, if you ever come to New York, se você vier para Nova York algum dia, experimente a pizza aqui e depois me conta, ok? E I have no words to thank you for this interview.
Oh, thank
you
you.
very much.
yes, thanks for talking to me about pizza and stuff. Very fun.
It was so nice, and I
Yeah.
loved your answers.
Oh, thanks.
And it was so nice to meet you.
Okay, great. Are we gonna eat pizza now?
Yeah, I hope so, and drink some wine.
Cachaça, cachaça!
Gostou desse vídeo? Então dá aquele like e compartilha. See you!
See you. Saúde.
Saúde!
Saúde.
Saúde!
Saúde.